somebody told you before you started your business?
That people will not be receptive. That they won't reciprocate the energy. And the only reason why I say that is because you need the resilience in it to endure that. You know, so we're gonna take it personally.
This is right. Because a lot of people always ask me this, whether they're an entrepreneur or just trying to build wealth. The first thing I'll say is have a goal in mind when it comes to what your retirement plan is. Right? You know, we go day in and day out, literally just working, but we don't know what we're working towards. So if you leave here today, the quickest equation you can do is take whatever your living wage, what it takes you to live off in a year, multiply that by 20, and that's going to be your retirement number.
What are your thoughts on investing in your business?
Great question. So, investing in your business starts with investing in yourself. But a lot of people think about that purely from the educational side, but you need to invest in yourself mentally and spiritually as well as physically. I see so many entrepreneurs, they don't get no sleep. I know we got to grind. I've definitely been on that, especially when I was putting out my apparel. I had some late nights, but I invested in my body so I can make sure I have the energy and I'm able to use everything I'm putting in my mind at a high level. So when you miss sleep, it's going to deteriorate your body, how fast you can think cognitively. So you got to take care of yourself.
What is your idea of a good business community?
Question on my heart. A good business community. Oh. Okay, so this is the thing. I believe in village strong, right? I believe do what you're great at. I believe you can't be great at everything. I believe each one teach one. I believe when you get it, pass it along. So if you take all of those factors and you put them into one space, village strong, which is in my email signatures or my text messages, I'm coming with specs, hashtag village strong. Because if I'm coming to you as a person, as a business, I'm coming to you because I believe you have as much value as you think I do. And so if I'm sitting down at a table with you, and I've had this happen to me so many times, I'm sitting down because I'm excited to learn what you can teach me. Because I know that there are things eventually in conversation I learn will come to the table and we can benefit from each other. But really understanding that we can benefit from each other, and I understand where you come from, but just really we can benefit from each other if we do it internally, and I just don't mean it, don't kill me, but I don't just mean in our Black community, I just mean internally as people. Like, we all are here for our purpose. And it's easier if we all work together in our purpose because all of those pieces to the puzzle become together and they look like a picture.
Okay. All right. Tell us about your journey in your business.
So, as it relates to my business, we have something called EG Organics. So that was like the latest venture. My business partner is in the DMV, and it's really about creating a bridge with shea butter specifically, which is one of the products that we utilize. It's infused with CBD. It's about building a bridge between, Atlanta, Ghana, West Africa, Accra to be exact, and I would say really America as a whole. I think that we're wanting to amplify what we know is taking place on the continent and what we know is taking place right here in the diaspora. And because America is such a lightning rod for the rest of the world, it just simply makes sense. And Atlanta is one of those major arteries, if not maybe the heartbeat for the Black world, so to speak.
What market does your company serve?
So my business name is Better Together 365, and I basically do relationship enrichment with couples. I do that through officiating weddings, but I also do premarital counseling is a big chunk of it. And I also do intervention work with couples. Now intervention, of course, compared to premarital, it's a lot heavier. right? They're already coming with issues and problems and things. So I'm very particular about how many clients I take on that way because I'm a very empathetic person. And so it can get heavy. So that's how I balance it, is by the joy of loving love and officiating weddings and helping people start their forevers and all of that. But basically the short answer is I'm in the wedding business.
Okay, I like that. Short and sweet. You're putting yourself out there.
I didn't. I'm just doing it through fear. I'm an independent stylist and creative strategist. I'm a local from Collab
Southside.
but I didn't. I'm scared to be up here, so I'm doing it through fear. So I guess that's what you gotta do.
Learning to plan backwards in everything that you do.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So the first thing that I mentioned is making sure that you know your retirement number, right? But after you figure out what your retirement number, then there's a now what? Is it going to take you forever to get there? You know, the number that we always hear, 65. I know I don't work until I'm 65, right? Or are you gonna hustle down and, start a side hustle that can become your main hustle to get you there quicker, right? So when you know your retirement number and you plan backwards to get there, you'll come a lot further. Like, I'm a money coach and a lot of people have questions around that. Like, what are the steps can I take to get there? And planning backwards is so easy to think about, but to actually do it takes time. Like, you have to have a project management mindset and just think, what are the small steps that I can do every day? I don't want to say to make more money, but ultimately at the end of the day, like, how are you going to get the bag so that you can leave money in your grandchildren's bank account when you transit to heaven?
Tell us about your business.
Well, okay, we're good now. So, my name is Tamar. You've been doing a super good job. It's really just wait, you're killing it.
I'm scared too. I'm fear of it. So y'all understand? I'm shaking right now. Go ahead,
You're good, you're good. So, I'm the owner, head coach, and lead designer at Elegant Saturday Coaching and Apparel. The biggest thing that I do is help people improve in their health continuum. So, the health continuum is a concept I created that embodies your spiritual, mental, and physical health. So, she was speaking about purpose, and I think your purpose is something that you come into this world already with, right? It's in your spirit. So regardless if you're Christian or not, a lot of people have to understand that, okay, we have a spirit, we have a mind, and we have a body. But what tends to happen is we don't connect with that purpose, we don't connect with the spirit, and we really just focus on the body, we focus on our appearance, that's all we got. So with the coaching, I do help people get the six-pack, I help people lose weight, gain weight if they're trying to do that as well, but it's more than aesthetics. And my tagline is that because we focus on the full spectrum. So I help you bridge, like, okay, what we're doing in the gym, how does that relate to your mindset? Also, how does that help you get into your purpose and your calling? So all people break out of that. Now, on the apparel side, I do that in my clothing as well by tagging my stuff. So my soccer line jersey has a lot of great meanings in it. One I have on right now is purity. I have a strength jersey, confidence. So everything I put out is revolving around that health continuum and just helping people improve holistically.
About your journey in your business.
Okay. My journey in the bit, like how I got here, or like,
Yes, ma'am.
it all started, same old, no, I'm just playing. So, my journey started, I was around 3, and I used to love to put puzzles together. This is a very true story. Don't judge me. I still do it to this day. And the only reason why I know that that's where it started is because I realized that probably about a year ago, that that's how far back I really was being positioned in purpose for what I was doing. And I recorded one day myself doing a puzzle because there's a process. And I remember I walked my father through my process, and he was like, "You've been my daughter for 45 years, and I now know how to think." It is always strategy. Because you look at the picture, you're like, I want this, right? And then you figure out how you're going to put it together. And at a very young age, I realized not aesthetically, right? Because I'm a hippie soul, so it was never about my appearance for me. But technically, I loved seeing a thing in my mind and figuring out how to put it together. And so I started off with baby steps, growing up, just putting my hustle together. Middle school, high school, I was doing it, right? College, I had a little hustle. When I graduated, I started realizing, like, oh, all of these traits and things that I'm learning along my journey are what got me here. This is all me just realizing this about a year ago. Right, okay, this is just all happened a year ago. And so then I started seeing, but my biggest part, it was the people part. Because no matter where I went, people always, I love people. You know, the ups and downs, the hard ones, I just love people. Because I think I always tap into how people really affect how we move. And so, when we talk about where I'm at now and the companies that I support and provide advice to, it's a lot going on, right? I just think about how I just sit down and I look at that plan and I put it together and I say, okay, this is what we need to do. And it always starts with the people. And so at a second, my mother, she was still here, she said, Mia was in daycare and she had all this money from the table and she went to school and she just gave it all out. Just gave it to everybody because I just want to give what I've learned to everybody. And so my business is really, people call me and they say, hey, I just want a little bit of time with you to figure this out. And I talk to them, we walk through it, I make my little grid, I write it on my sticky notes, and I give them back a plan. And I realized that my gift was not only being able to put together a plan, but that all of my experience gave me so much knowledge about the plans that work, the plans that don't work. You know, I've worked in so many industries. And then to be able to give it to people in a way, because I started off as a teacher, that people understood. And when they started to see like their own light, there's no light like someone seeing their own light. Whether it be a kindergartner, whether it be an adult, whether it be an elder, there's no light like seeing someone see their own light. And so I'm honest to God, that is my story about how I got to the business that I did, because I literally support people in putting together what they want.
How have people showed up for you since starting your business?
So I think it's really important when you're starting a business that you do your best to find just a tribe that reflects who you are. And you got to show up for other people at the same time that you expect people to show up for you. So Mia was one of those people who showed up for me, which is why I show up for her. You know what I mean? And you just keep that going, but a lot of people take those things for granted. I think that it's easy to want to shove your product in people's faces and say, hey, buy this, or, you know, you should be buying what I'm selling. And I'll give you an example, because we're in a city like Atlanta, where, you know, let's just say even 5, even 10 years ago, you would go to the gas station and someone would say, you know what I'm saying, like they have a CD. This is when everybody has CDs. And they're like, you don't want to buy my CD? You don't want to buy my CD? And you look at the CD and, you know, I've kind of peeled this off and done a bunch of things, but the CD doesn't have any presentation. I don't know that I'm really going to like it. And yes, I do want to support you, but there's an approach. You know, a lot of people miss that personal touch. They just, you need to be supporting me. You ain't supporting. It's like, bro, now you're becoming a little off-putting. You know what I mean? And so you can't get people to want to get on your wagon when you talk to people any type of way and you're the one that's trying to get support generated for yourself. So I think it's very important, and it's incumbent on all of us to realize, you know, our approach, our tone when we're dealing with potential customers, because service is a very important aspect. Anytime you have goods or products, you have a service that you're trying to get someone to buy into. And I think a lot of times we forget that. And, you know, I'm gonna take you somewhere for a minute, and some people may like it, some people may not, but, you know, speaking of service, sometimes I'll go to restaurants, and I think service is the greatest thing that you can extend to somebody else. And so you should always treat servers with the utmost respect. But I also know that there's some servers who don't know how to serve. And they serve you in a way that you're like very turned off. But they still expect the same level of tip. They still expect the same reciprocity. It's like, it's a given. And it's never a given. everything and every day, we gotta earn it. You know what I mean? So every day above ground is an excellent day. It's a new opportunity for you to put your business out there. You know, your customer technically is the person that's right. If you're trying to, you know, create that energy in your business. And I just say that for all of us as potential entrepreneurs that, you know, you gotta think about these things. And also, let me just say this, entrepreneurship may not be everybody's path. And that's okay too. You know, I still work for someone else. I work for V103, but that's not the main thing at all. The main thing that I do is I'm working in a space where I'm being stretched and I'm being pulled in ways that I didn't know really I could be. And, you know, something that I was sent was, you know, there's some billionaires that work for other people. And there's some entrepreneurs that are barely making it. And both are fine. It's all about what your passion is, but I just think that it's about context. And, you know, we need to change our verbiage around certain things, like the game is to be sold, not to be told, and all these crazy isms that we come up with when we want to hold back from other people. So, again, I'm saying a lot. It may go over some people's head, but I'm here.
What's something you wish someone told you before you started your business?
So we got these questions beforehand, right? So on the drive over here, I'm like rehearsing, okay? I'm thinking like, what is that one thing that I wish somebody would have told me? What is that one thing that kind of blew my mind? And I've been working for myself for 5.5 years now. And honestly, you're going to spend a lot more time doing everything but what you went into business to do. I work with couples, but 70% of the time, I'm doing social media, I'm doing networking, I'm doing my taxes, I'm doing my finances, I'm doing the admin work. If you're not trying to do anything that has to do with the business part, if you're like, that don't sound like it's for me, exactly like what he was just saying, don't be an entrepreneur, that is fine. Just because you are good at something, it does not mean you need to make it a business. Because it's a whole different ballgame once you are in business for yourself. Because all of those things right at the beginning, unless you just, you know, get a random $1 million loan from your daddy, then you're not going to be able to outsource all those things, and you're going to have to wear multiple hats, and you're going to have to make time to do all of those things yourself. So that would definitely be the thing that really made my head spin when I first started was, you're going to spend a lot of time doing all these other things but you thought had nothing to do with what you actually wanted to do for your business, about your passion. You're going to spend a lot of time doing things that are not in line with your passion.
What is your idea of good business community?
A safe space. A lot of times, entrepreneurs or creatives as a whole undergo like this deep amount of scrutiny when they have to start over, or when something doesn't work, or whatever. A great business community will allow you to do that without being scrutinized or making you feel indifferent or making you feel small. So, a safe space.
Knowing your retirement number and making strides to tackle it annually. So I'm guessing, basically, picking when you want to retire. Like when do you
Yeah, so I think I covered that one already. But I think the third thing that I was going to leave you guys with is, as you understand your retirement number and you plan backwards, right? We get so caught up on the hustle, right? The day in, the day out, that sometimes we just really forget to take a step back and take it all in, right? One thing that I would say when I was in corporate America and I was hustling, trying to climb that corporate ladder, maybe, CFO, I had a burnout and it took me out. Like, it took me all the way out to the point where I had to go to therapy and just like really understand what were those things that I was missing personally so that I could be there for my family, right? How could I show up as my full self in corporate America without losing pieces of me, right? So if you're in corporate America and what Osei says, you have this inkling of wanting to be an entrepreneur, what I'll say is, I said, forget this corporate America stuff. I'm gonna jump out here and entrepreneur, but I landed flat on my face because you're wearing all the hats, right? So take a step back and try to understand if I'm in corporate America and this is not the right place for me, take a step back and say, do I need to go to another job that's going to accept me for me and allow me to show up as my true self? Talk to an entrepreneur and have them coach you through what were some of those things like we're telling you about. What were some of the things that, would have prevented you from falling flat on your face when you stepped out there, right? And if you're in corporate America and you want to do both, right now I went back to corporate America because I was like, this entrepreneurship ain't paying. It's not paying, my family's bills, right? So go back to corporate America and do what you need to do. The one thing that I've heard is what corporate America will pay you to do from 9 to 5, you can figure out how to do it from 5 to 9 and figure out how to make that side hustle your main hustle, right? So don't just jump out there flat on your face and make sure you're taking a step back and taking it all in so that you can enjoy the journey as you go.
Why did you decide to join the Collab Exchange?
That's a great question. But before I answer it, I have to piggyback on what she said. I jumped straight into entrepreneurship right after college and immediately got punched in the face. It's something that you have to really consider the full point of what you're going to get yourself into, and it's hard to do that unless you have some kind of mentorship or some kind of community. So immediately after that, what I did is work for several other people that did what I'm doing, figured out, okay, what's the overhead look like, and then I switched over once my income was beating my corporate income. So I have to say that again because I know a lot of people don't think it's that real. I'm blessed, I'm still pretty young, my parents kind of helped me out with that, otherwise I would be on the street, so that's something to think about. But the reason why I joined the Collab Exchange, building community is super important, but one thing as entrepreneurs we have to always consider is you have to constantly, every single day, eliminate obscurity. And obscurity is a state of being. So it doesn't matter how comfortable my socks are, it doesn't matter how good my coaching is if nobody knows who I am. So just like how she said she's nervous to be up here, this is stuff that if you jump into this space, you have to put yourself in these different rooms and be willing, even if you're introverted, I'm up here speaking, to get into these different rooms so that way you can eliminate obscurity and people can know who you are. Because again, like I said, it doesn't matter how good your stuff is, you have to get it out there so you can have brand awareness. But the second thing, I'm just a student of the game. So I know being up here, this is giving me access to people that I didn't know before. There's a million things I don't know. I'll be the first person to say, hey, I can find out even if I don't know. So whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's corporate America, I know sometimes that's kind of frowned upon. You have to, especially if you're a manager or something, you have to feel like you know everything. That's going to be the first thing to kill you, even with coaching. If someone asks me, my client asks me, I'm like, hey, I can find out there. So you have to be a student of the game. It doesn't matter if you're in entrepreneurship 1 year, 5 years, or 100 years. Every single day you have to get up and say, okay, how can I move the needle and get a little bit better? And that starts with saying, okay, what can I learn today?
Thank you.
People have been showing up for me my entire life. Just being honest. And I'm not speaking about $1, but since we're piggybacking, this is my last question I said, right? So for you, court is at the end. Your safest space is going to be you. And you're beautiful. And so when you said stylist, I was like, somebody call her for me, please. Okay, because I don't like to waste time doing anything but what I love to do, which is making people make sense out of what they do, right? So I don't see what I'm talking about. For you, gorgeous, you didn't go back to corporate America, you had your highest paid client. You understand what I'm saying? It's all about how you look at it. For you, dear sir, I have to say this because I feel a little seniority here, but it is what it is, and I believe in just giving it back. It's not even about where you're going to do well, it's the test and how you handle the test that determines your space in the world of entrepreneurship. Because what happens in our world, all of us here, I'm sure, is that we're unicorns, and it's not only the strong survive game. So when we start, we talk about all of the other things you have to do in a business you do, right? And you'll get to a point where you realize that there's a way, bartering is my favorite word, right? There's a way, you will find a way to get the things you need in a way that allows you to continue to be great at what you're doing, so you can always feel that you're in the space that you want to be in your business. And if I would have had someone tell it to me like that, probably when I walked away from my 6 figures at 23 and said, the hell with this shit, I used to sit in the car for an hour. Like, God, this is not it. I don't care about this money. All I like is peanut butter and jelly. Anyway, I don't really like this apartment. My daddy and my mama wanted me to get it. What can I do? I stopped. Wrong thing, because the bills could not get paid. No. However, when I realized how to leverage what I was good at, and I stayed in my space where I was the most proficient, and people said my name in rooms I was never in about the work that I could do, it began to validate the work that I was put here to do that I didn't know until last year when I realized it all started on that day when for the first time my mama and daddy didn't make me go to bed at night working on the puzzle of the 50 states of the United States of America that I did over and over and over and over again, and at 4 years old was timing myself on how fast I could do it. I'm 45. So before we answer the question, I had to piggyback because I want you all to understand it ain't what you're thinking, it's how you're thinking. You understand what I'm saying? It's your highest paid client says you're really good. You understand what I'm saying? I'm loving what you're doing, keep doing it. You understand what I'm saying? So if we talk about what I've needed or received throughout this space, I've always gotten what I needed. I got the ability to continue to be my mother and father always told me. My mother said, Leah, baby, use your words. She was an English major. My mother was a publicist. She was doing this back when she first graduated from working at HBCUs all day, okay? But, you know, second generation, I'm just saying, okay, mommy and daddy, okay, anyway. But she did it then, and she always said to me, use your words. She never told me that my words weren't valid. My father always said, baby, just do it. Okay, so I just did it. And if I fell, I fell. If I didn't, I didn't. If I fell and I said, I don't like that, I don't want to do that no more, I didn't, and I went somewhere else. But my mother always told me, but you gotta be about something. And I was just like, well, what is my something? And then I love pens, and I love paper, and I love planners, and I love people, so it makes sense that I write plans. And that's what I'm doing. And I do it every day, and I love it. That's it.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yeah, so all my life,
What is your idea of a good business community? Yes, sir.
I think a good business community is where it's very much so reciprocal. And we got to look at it from the standpoint if we didn't have physical currency, then what do we have? And it's social capital. And I think that if you were to think back, maybe, you know, post-Civil War, when black people were getting their freedom here, I can imagine where some of these developments, like, you know, there were many Tulsas, there were many Black Wall Streets in different parts of the country that we don't even talk about. But in order for them to get to that place that they eventually got to, they had to have some type of bartering system. We put so much value on these physical things, like dollars and cents, and I understand why. But if they tell us tomorrow that it's going to be red Coke bottle caps, then everybody's going to get red Coke bottle caps. Right now we own crypto, we own all this other stuff. You don't even see money the same way that you do. So it's this pervasive thought, but the value is in each of the individuals in this room. Every person in here has value. You know, you might have the tomatoes, I might have the corn. You know what I'm saying? This person over here they got the greens, and we all need each other because we're building ecosystem. And a lot of times people forget that, and they want to eat everything today. And then you deplete the ecosystem because now it's offset. And so when I think of building, you know, a good community, it's a community where we support one another. It's a community where we can talk, where we can come together and support one of the members of the community if that person needs it. It's almost like you know, everybody was big on the susu, but everybody was just big on what they could get out the susu, not what they could put into the susu, right? So in my mind, it's about, okay, what are we pouring into each other? Because we need this person's business to be as strong as it can possibly be, because that trickles down to all of us. But I think that we have to have more of a communal mindset. You know what I'm saying? Again, those isms. I got mine. You need to go get yours. We need to, that language and all of that we came up with, it was cool, it sounds slick in records, on hip hop songs and things of that nature. But when you try to take that application into real life, see how that works for you.
We'll call your initial fear and putting yourself out there.
So basically, like what she said, you know, doing it scared. But I also kind of wanted to add the fear that comes with imposter syndrome. I started what I did a couple of years after I graduated from college. And with what it is that I'm doing, I have to know what I'm talking about. I'm working with people's lives. Like, you cannot play with that. You can't just tell people. I have a pet peeve. Everybody's an expert on relationships nowadays as long as you got a social media account. I actually have degrees, plural. I have certifications, I got trainings. I train other people to do what I do. So it really irks me when I see people playing with people's lives, right? So like I said, I've been doing this for about 5.5 years now. So my imposter syndrome is a bit less. When I start to sit next to giants, it creeps up a little bit. But I have to remind myself that you wouldn't be in the seat you're in if you didn't know what you were talking about. And I'm a spiritual person, I believe in God. So something I like to say is God doesn't just call me equipped, He equips the called. And so I was called to this. So if I come into a room, I know He's going to provide me with exactly what it is that I need, so I'm not an imposter. And so it's overcoming that fear of, okay, I'm too afraid to say anything. I don't know if I'm going to say the wrong thing. I don't know if I'm going to say the wrong thing. And then just doing it anyway. Exactly like what she said. I'm up here scared to death. That's my best friend. She's known me since 6th grade. I've been opening my mouth constantly. So, and if I say something out of whack and off the wall, whenever I got a mic, I'm like, but she gets to know a little bit of me now, don't she? So that's all I got for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all give it up one more time for our panelists. On behalf of the Collab Exchange, I want to say thank you all for dropping our gems to myself as well and to our fellow peers. And y'all give it up one more time for them, man. Before we end it, can y'all give y'all social media out so they can follow you, so they got any extra tips, any extra questions they want to ask y'all?
My social media is Comfort Key, but Key is spelled K-E-E. On Instagram, it's an underscore at the end.
Alright, so I have 2 IGs for all my beauty pros, okay? For all my beauty pros, I need you to follow at The Money Council. Council spelled COUNCIL. For all of my other beautiful people that are here that need tax advice, looking to get just advice in general about retirement planning, follow at The Money Counselor, okay?
So I have 2 IGs as well. So first one is Elegant Savagery. A lot of people just don't put the RY at the end, so if they stop at Elegant Savage, just put the RY, Elegant Savagery, will pop up. And then my personal or my coaching page is Tamar Lawton, so TERMARLAWTON.
So of course I'm here on behalf of all the fun that I do with the Pinky Club Foundation, so that's Pinky Gives Back. Okay, is the Instagram for the Pinky Club Foundation, and then my personal home space. My personal home space is When Monday Comes. It's just the word When Monday Comes, where you can learn all about me.
You can follow EJU Organics with an X on the gram, and also for me it's at Osei, O-S-E-I, the, spelled out, Dark Secret, TAGDARK-SECRET. No English wizardry with that, just spelled out straight. The only thing you have to know is Osei, O-S-E-I.
You can follow me on Instagram. I am better.together.365 in numbers. Again, that's better.together365. Thank you.